Call this Toledo City meeting for April 15th, 2026 to order. First item of business, pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yay.
All three roll call.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Councilor Riley.
Present.
Councilor Burns.
Yes.
Just in case the microphone didn't pick that up, Councilor Burns is present.
Councilor Keating. Here. Councilor Kaufman.
You. Oh, here. Sorry. It's
Council President Sylvia.
Yes, sir.
And Mayor Mix.
Here.
I'm also. Council President, we have a full quorum.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is anybody have any comments not on the agenda, either in public or online?
Shannon Herman, I'm just wondering if the retail permits for fireworks will be on the agenda tonight, as they were stated to be on the agenda last meeting minutes.
We do not have an item ready for that topic at this time. I'm currently anticipating it for May 1st.
May 1st.
Yeah,
Okay.
or the first week of May, which is May 6th.
Oh, my name is, Shannon Herman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for the delay on that,
No,
Shannon.
that's okay.
Do we have submitted comments, Paul?
We do, and they are submitted for the record.
Anybody else have something to say? Come on up.
Let me make sure that microphone's on. Yeah. Please state your name.
Hi, Council. My name is Kathy Rigby. I'm a resident of Newport. I'm the current grants manager for the city of Newport. I just wanted to come here and introduce myself. So I'm Kathy Rigby, and I'm actually running for County Commissioner Seat 1, which is the seat currently occupied by Casey Miller. I met a few of you at the Homey House open house a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to come by and formally introduce myself so that you could put a name and a face. And I have a website if you have questions in the future. It's kathyrigby.com. But I would be happy to answer questions after the meeting, as you all are probably trying to get to know all of the candidates in this current county commission race. But I appreciate you giving me a little bit of time to say hello. Happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. My name is Kristen Dawn. I live in South Beach, Oregon, and I also am running for Lincoln County Commissioner, but I am running for position 2 to serve the remaining 2 years of the position that was formerly held by the late Claire Hall. So just want to take a quick minute to introduce myself. I've lived here in Lincoln County for 22 years. I've dedicated my career to serving coastal communities. I moved here after graduate school when I accepted a position with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and I've been here ever since. I currently serve on the Lincoln County Budget Committee and also serve on the board for Samaritan House Family Shelter. I just wanted to introduce myself. I know the city of Toledo and the county have many shared interests and are collaborators and partners on many issues and topics. I would love the opportunity to meet with you, get to know you, and hear about how the county can better partner with the city of Toledo, and would love to hear your thoughts on improving our community overall. So just thank you. And again, my name is Kristen Dawn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Paul, do we have anybody online?
There's no one requesting any online comments at this time, Council President.
Next up is consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Andrew and seconded by Jackie Kaufman to approve the consent agenda as presented. Paul, can we get a vote?
Yes, Council President. Council Riley. Yea or nay?
Yay.
Counselor Burns?
Yes.
Counselor Chambers?
Yes.
Counselor Kaufman?
Yes.
Counselor Keating?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, the next item is Toledo Beat presentations to the council, Toledo Arbor Day 2026 proclamation. Rich?
Thank you, Council President. This evening, we have a proclamation that the mayor will read into the record in just a moment. Just as a quick introduction, the city of Toledo for a number of years has proudly earned the designation as a Tree City USA. In order to continue to be eligible for that designation, the city needs to issue a proclamation acknowledging Arbor Day, which is what the mayor will read into the agenda, as well as have an Arbor Day event. I'm happy to announce that the library, in conjunction with the Public Works Department, on Saturday the 25th, will be having a trail tour of the area behind the library that was previously a disc golf course. So they'll be offering that opportunity to the community. Arbor Day is next Friday, the 24th, but we're offering the event on the 25th, the Saturday, hoping that that'll be more fitting schedule-wise for families in the community to be able to attend. Very thankful to Harrison Baker, our library director, and our public works staff for putting that event on. With that, Madam Mayor, would you like to read the proclamation?
Absolutely. In observance of Toledo Arbor Day 2026, whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and producing a habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Tracy Mix, Mayor of the City of Toledo, Oregon, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 24th, 2026, as Arbor Day in the City of Toledo. I urge all residents to celebrate Arbor Day, to participate in our local Arbor Day trail tour on Saturday, April 25th, 2026, and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 15th day. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council President, that concludes my report on this item.
Next on the agenda is discussion and information items, Toledo H2O Water Assistance Program.
Thank you again, Council President. Happy to introduce Michelle from the Salvation Army. They have been a valuable partner with the city on the H2O Water Assistance Program here in the community. They have asked for the opportunity to present to council this evening about possibly increasing the maximum the maximum amount with which they are able to provide assistance to deserving and worthy recipients in town. So happy to have Michelle speak with you this evening, and I'll turn it over to her. Thank you.
So yes, I am Lieutenant Michelle Del Olio from the Salvation Army of Lincoln County. We've been working with the City of Toledo for several years now, helping residents of the city when they are behind on their water bills or a financial emergency comes up or something. And they come to us, and we have a really simple application form that was developed in partnership with the City of Toledo. And basically, they just have to bring a notice of either shut off or past due amount or some proof of a financial emergency. And at this point, we are currently able to assist them with up to $100 in a 12-month period. So once they receive the assistance, they don't qualify again for another 12 months. And what we have noticed is that a lot of the assistance requests that we get tend to be a lot higher than $100. One of the ones that we looked at the other day was actually almost $650 that they were behind when they came to us for assistance. So what we're looking to do is to increase that limit from $100 to $200, or at least $150, hopefully the $200, so that we're able to make a little bit more of an impact and help those families just a little bit more to get their feet back under them and figure out something for paying off the remainder.
So, Council, a couple of bits of information I would add to that presentation before you begin discussion on the item this evening. The Salvation Army received $1,500 from the Contributions Committee during the 2022-2023 budget year to help get the program off the ground. Since then, the program has been funded primarily through donations from residents. They have an opportunity to sign up to either round their bill up, contribute one time, or add a monthly contribution to their bill amount. The city has been talking about ways to better advertise and promote that program. The other way in which there's some funding support for the program is when a utility bill, when a customer closes their utility account with the city, if the amount that they would be eligible for refund is less than $10, that amount is donated to the H2O program. So with that information, the one thing that I would add for your consideration is if we increase the amount that recipients are eligible to receive without adding a new funding mechanism for the program, that would potentially reduce the number of individuals that could be helped by the program. So that's something that I had the chance to meet with Michelle and her team on Monday. And that's something that we are cognizant of and kind of kicking around how we could support the program. So I don't have a proposal for council this evening in terms of how we may go about that, but just wanted to have it on your radar for your discussion.
We did also get $2,000 in 2023, and the most recent was $688 and change in July, August of 2025.
The most recent one I would anticipate would have been, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Mindy, but I would anticipate that was the donated amount. Yes. The 2,000, was that also? That was also from that program? Mm-hmm. Okay, just wanted to make sure there wasn't another contribute, that there was just the one contribution committee.
The 2,000 I believe was also the charitable contributions.
Oh, okay.
The 688 was part of the donations that came through the.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Of course.
Well, real quick, I have to abstain from this conversation because I'm possibly going to join their advisory committee, so it would be a possible conflict for me, so I'm going to abstain. But the one thing I will say is I was talking to Jackie Kaufman about this a while back, and we can't find that button that used to be on the front page of the city website where people can click to donate. We need to make it easier for people that can donate.
Yes.
Easier avenues.
That was also part of our discussion on Monday, was how to raise awareness of how to donate and raising awareness that the program is available to residents.
So Paul, as we're working on the website update, can we find out how to add, like you did with TextMyGov, can we find out how best to add a pop-up or, those things that Dave loves?
Yes, it'll probably be added to, I want to, you click on that, pay a bill, get more information, contact someone, we can put it right there, make a donation.
Thank you. On that note, we'll start down here with Jackie and work our way
I
down.
just was wondering if you have any numbers of people in Toledo that have been able to be recipients of the funds?
Yeah, so I know that in the last 2.5, almost 3 years, so I moved here to take over the Salvation Army of Lincoln County in summer of 2023.
Okay.
And since then, we have done 19 assistances at the maximum of $100 each.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there also some that you aren't able to fulfill? Like how much is requested through this program compared to how much you actually allocate?
I have never denied anyone from getting the assistance. And as far as I know, my predecessors did not either. They were the ones who kind of initiated the program here.
Do you know how much as a dollar amount? Maybe I missed that, but do you know how much as a dollar amount?
19 customers at $100 each.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it, okay.
Mhm.
All of the maximum.
Yeah.
Forgive me if I missed it, but do you undergo like a means qualification to receive it, or?
So the primary qualification is that they live in the city of Toledo and they need assistance with their water bill. I try to have as low barrier as possible when it comes to assistances, because I am a firm believer that if you don't need the help, you're not going to ask for it. But if they do and they're willing to come to our office and fill out the forms, then we work with them and we get it going through. The only things that they have to present are their ID and their either proof of past due bill, shut off notice, or proof of financial emergency of some kind, like somebody was hospitalized, unable to work, couldn't afford their bills that month. And that's basically it. And then we put through everything, we create the voucher and we send it to the utility department here, and as well as our AP department that pays the city directly for the utility assistance.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, just for my colleagues on the council, my general perspective is that if people want to be generous and donate through this program, I think it's great that we're able to facilitate something that helps people who have financial need. Once it ventures from there into a more structured program where we'd be like supplementing with other utility funds or with general fund, my interest diminishes largely because we have this weird effect then where we're asking people who can barely pay their bill to subsidize the payment of bills for people who can't pay their bill. And so I'm all for whatever we can do to promote the program and try to maximize the resources that are available, but I'd probably tap out if the request is to find more general fund or utility funds to feed the program.
I'd also put out there that the way we work in Salvation Army is also if somebody wanted to make a direct donation for this program, all they would need to do is say, this donation is for this, and it will go directly to that. It will not be used for anything else.
Michelle, do you run this program in other cities in Lincoln County? It's similar programs in other cities?
Not currently.
Okay.
This is the only one that we get funding for utility assistance from. For any of the others, we have some other resources that we refer them to that are mostly general assistance kind of funding.
So that answered the follow-up question I was going to have, which is if you did, say you had one in Lincoln City or so forth, then the money that was donated by Toledo utility payers would only be
Correct.
available to Toledo recipients.
Yes, absolutely.
That was part of the deal.
Yes.
Do you partner with any of our local businesses? Like I know JC, for instance, does their Roundup program for different causes in the community. But do you guys also work with organizations like that for round up your purchase for a local charity for this month?
It's a little difficult for us because we are a general corporation that is administered at various levels. So we can do that. Currently, the only one that we contract with nationally to do that is Walmart during the Christmas season as part of our Red Kettle campaign. Otherwise, we do actually next month we have a fundraiser at Mugley's. So we do work with some of the other businesses and stuff in town who support us at different times during the year.
Bill?
I don't have anything with this tonight.
Chambers asked, and that is that if we're not means testing them, do we have any chronic repeat offenders?
Not as far as I know. I think every single name that we've assisted in the last 3 years have been different.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So even when they hit that 12-month period, I haven't seen them come back.
Do you have any kind of regulation that says, okay, you applied here, so you don't qualify for there? Like, are there
As far as-
boundaries or parameters set around each recipient?
Sorry, I don't think I understand.
Okay, that wasn't very clear. So if I go to the food pantry and
Right.
they know I went in there,
Right.
then they don't want me to come in until an expiration time.
Gotcha.
And so if I wanted help with my bill and I came to you month after month after month, because I know I don't have to pay that.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering, is there a limit to the number of times that they can apply? Is it in a month or?
Once in a 12-month period. So like if somebody came to us today and applied for water assistance, they wouldn't qualify again until next April.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, that was difficult.
And thank you for hitting that last point, because that was one of the questions I asked Michelle in our meeting the other day was, is it a 12-month period per applicant? Because
Yes.
could I come in December and then the following January? And they track it by the applicant. So as she just said, if you come in April, then you can't come back until the following April.
Thank you.
Of course.
Jackie.
I don't have anything else.
Mayor Mix?
I have no questions. No comments.
Does anybody in the public in the dais area have anything to comment on this? Anybody online?
So, council, from what I assume is a consensus, and I'm going to start wording it that way. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like there was not a interest by the council in dedicating city monies to this. But is there any objection by the council to consider an increase in the amount eligible for potential recipients?
I think you guys have sought money through the contributions committee in the past, and I think that there's nothing wrong necessarily with the Salvation Army, and I don't know if I'm veering away, or I don't know whether I'm agreeing or disagreeing with Councilor Chambers on this, but our contributions committee has kind of a set amount of money that it typically has available to allocate based on the applications that it receives.
Right.
I don't think there's any harm in asking for more money from the contributions committee if there
Yes.
is more available to allocate, because say we have less applications that year or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think if I'm understanding correctly, Councilor Chambers was more focused on taking more money intentionally out of the general fund and things like that. So I think, the contributions committee, I think is a place that you can come and ask for, instead of 1,500, for 2,500 if you feel like you have a greater need, and we can always then authorize only 1,500 if only 1,500 is available.
Right.
I think my take on the question that City Manager Huebner has offered is that I don't think it's necessarily on us. I don't have a problem with increasing how much you're allowed as an organization to help pay somebody who is in need. And I think giving you guys some discretion over what that amount is, you probably have a better understanding than we do as to what the people in who you are serving need. And if you come to us later on and say, well, we need more money through the contributions committee because we have needed to give $125 or $150, and we had the same number, the same 19 people the same total number of people are coming in, then it's something for us to consider as a contributions committee in terms of the value of that allocation. I don't have a problem with increasing the maximum amount that's offered, because I also sat on this council last year when we significantly increased our water rates, right? And I think we all knew that was going to put additional hardship on some people. So I don't have a problem with the idea of saying, I trust your discretion that if we allow for the increase to say 125 or whatever the recommended amount is, that doesn't bother me. I just don't want to see more general fund money coming out.
Right. So the reason we're bringing it to the council is because the qualifications and restrictions and such were laid out in a contract with the city. So we're, going through the process. Here's what we're presenting, because it'll have to then either be an addendum or a new contract that would need to go through that process. Also, just kind of a glance behind the curtain of Salvation Army. So we change we get moved around as the officers, the pastors and administrators. And so there was a little bit of confusion because in fact today, literally this morning, I got an email from my predecessor here, Major Raymond Erickson King, with the information about the Toledo Contributions Fund applications. So somehow in the last couple of years that got missed and never got transferred over to my email. But now I have the information, and after meeting with the team on Monday, I got a lot more information to help us to supplement this program and work closer with the city of Toledo.
So Rich, do we have to do an RCA for this, or can we just say go forth and conquer and?
To Michelle's point, there's a contract between the city and the Salvation Army, so that would have to be, as she said, either amended or a new contract created. So there would need to be an RCA at a future meeting. That's why I wanted to get the consensus if there was comfort with that.
Can I make a suggestion that perhaps, you work with staff to figure out what you would recommend that increased maximum to be, and come to us kind of with what that is and kind of the justification for it. My stance is I trust you guys to know it would be helpful, and we're still giving you the same dollar amount regardless.
Right.
So if you feel like this would be helpful to help, to making life easier for people in Toledo, I'm going to trust that you're going to come to us and give us something that makes sense.
Yes.
Sounds good.
She already said 200.
Yeah, that's
200 is the preferred amount, and then it was,
Okay.
yeah.
Madam Mayor?
That was what I was gonna say, is that she had already told us,
Okay.
150 to 200.
150 would be nice, but
Yeah.
200 was the first ask.
Could we potentially do it on sort of a time base where we say for 1 year at 150 and the second year it goes up to 200, so it's kind of rolling?
Absolutely.
And we can see how it impacts people.
And impacts the program itself too. Absolutely. Yeah.
How much cash do you have on hand in the program?
So with the check from the summer fall, I think we've got about 700-ish.
So going back.
It would be the 688 plus the 100 that's left from that 2000.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah, I believe it's at 788 and change.
I'm just trying to figure out, how do you match revenue to the value of the credit?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to create a situation where we don't design that amount to make it through a year.
Right.
And then you're back here in October saying, I'm turning people away.
Yeah, so I look at when the deposits were made, I can look back at the financial reports from that, and then we keep a file with all of the clients' applications and such and vouchers. And so we go through and honestly, there hasn't been one that's less than $100. So I can count the number of applications and go, it's that many hundred. And that's how I know then what's taken off of that.
All right.
So Rich, do you think you'd be able to work with her and bring it back to us on first reading of May?
Given that we have an extra Wednesday in April, I'm going to say yes, that's achievable. With next week being LOC, if we had a meeting the following Wednesday, I'd say that's tight. But with that extra Wednesday in there, I think May 6th is definitely doable.
And I will be away for 2 weeks, so I'll be back before that first meeting in May, but
What are your dates of travel, if you don't mind me
I'm
asking?
leaving on Sunday and I'm back on May 3rd.
Okay, well, I'll work with the city attorney. I'll get her the current contract. Have her make me a recommendation on, do we do a new contract or an amendment? Get that all together for Michelle to take a look at when she gets back. The only issue being.
And anything like that, I have to send up the line to our territorial headquarters anyway, so it's gonna be a little bit of a turnaround.
So maybe the third week of May, Council President, because I think it'd be best to have Salvation Army tell us if it's acceptable to them before we bring it to us.
That'd be the 20th of May.
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah, I just don't want my suggestion to be considered as consensus. We directly disagreed with it, but my suggestion was that we do 1 year at 150 and a second year ongoing at 200, so that it's a slower progression. nobody else chimed in on that specific thing. I didn't want me to be the only one to say it and it be considered consensus.
As far as I know, most people didn't know what the limit was when they reached out to us until we went through the qualifications and stuff with them and said, we're able to do up to $100. And they, honestly, everybody's been like, I'll take whatever I can get. And they come and they meet with us and we get them set up with that. And then my follow-up recommendations that also my assistant Robin always gives is, one, call the city, let them know you're getting this and that you're working on it. And two, here's a list of other places that can help you make up that difference. So we always try to give a little bit of a follow-up too, and yeah.
I do have a little, like a tiny bit of concern about the 200, just like if we're not combining this with means testing, and I understand your point about why we aren't, but it ends up being a very low barrier access to a fairly significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And as word of mouth spreads, you know, I might not share quite as much of your optimism about humanity. And I feel like you could have a the where, you know, the requests exceed the revenue by a
Right, and with that amendment to the contract or whatever, or the new contract or whatever, we can lay out different qualifications. It's entirely dependent on, you know, on what we agree between the city and the Salvation Army, and you guys are the ones that are, you know, that want us to do this program and that are providing the funding. So we'll do whatever qualifications that you feel would be.
I'm not suggesting any program changes or a lot of additional burden on your end at this point. I'm just saying, like, I start to get a little hesitant as it gets higher because I feel like it's gonna get tapped.
I've been to ones where it's a lot more stringent, where they have to lay out exactly what all their expenses are for the month and everything. So whatever level we decide, however strict we want to be, the Salvation Army has systems laid out for how we can do that. And so
The way that we made with that contract, because it's supposed to help anybody that needs help. It doesn't matter if you make 10,000 a month. If you lost 20, you need help with your bill. If you've got a shut off, it doesn't matter what your income, what car you drive, whatever, you're in need. That's the way it was set up. I don't think that we should change that.
Well, what I'm hearing up here from these counselors, not, sorry, is that they want to top it out at 150. And everything aside, I think that that's where it should be topped out, at least for now. Then we can talk about it later on down the road if it.
And we need to do fundraisers for the H2O program.
We do, and we need to, as soon as Paul gets that little button set up, we can start pushing that for people in the community to donate.
And one of the things I've talked about with Cindy is starting to utilize the inserts in the utility bills again. So this is something, not only can we put the button on the website, but we can put in flyers in the utility bills, reminder this program exists. Mindy also has it on her to-do list to update the forms for how you can sign up as well. So we do need to start promoting the program better, no matter what the threshold is.
Yeah, it used to be part of the statement, you know, it had your bills.
Yep.
And then it had room for your favorite. Then it had room for the H2O donations and then total.
Yeah.
It used to be right there.
Yeah, we need to get that back. That's something she had on her whiteboard when she walked in on her first day. Anything? Oh, go ahead, Councilor.
The funds are paid directly to the city then, they don't, okay.
Yeah. They don't.
That was a good question.
it's a Salvation Army policy. When we do an assistance like that, we pay directly to the vendor, not through the client. We don't give them the money.
That's a
It
big
goes straight back to.
So is there a consensus among you guys to have Rich go forth and make a new contract or addendum and top it out at 150?
Yeah, no objection here.
All right,
Rich.
I'm gonna shoot then for May 20th to, what was that, Jackie?
We didn't get Tracy's consent.
Oh. Thumbs up. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So council, I will shoot to have on by May 20th at your meeting that night, have a contract that's been vetted by the city attorney and the Salvation Army. That'll give Michelle time to get back from her travels. Thank you.
I know.
I hope that
Okay, bring that up too. Okay, so next on the agenda, and Paul, you know I don't like big words.
That one's on me.
Oh, Rich. Toledo semi-quincentennial 4th of July celebration. I practiced that a few times today.
Nice. Well, council, I brought this for discussion this evening, and open to any discussion that council still wants to have. But I wanted to bring forward a suggestion. There's been a lot of talk in the community and in this meeting room about a 4th of July celebration. And what I wanted to suggest was that the city set up a 4th of July committee, up to 3 counselors. So with a non-quorum, we don't have to have public meeting notices for every one of them. But myself, up to 3 counselors that maybe have the time to volunteer for this. Amber from the chamber mentioned that she would be willing to serve on this community, on this committee, and have it open to businesses or other members of the community either want to volunteer or be vendors or that kind of thing, and we can add to it as we get closer to the 4th of July. But there's been a lot of discussion out in the community and in this room about exactly where we're going to allow fireworks and what other attractions and activities we're going to have on that day. And we need to set out the timing of things, because if we're going to have vendors or we're going to have attractions on the field, we need to make sure that they're off the field before fireworks. So I think a committee would be a great way to go on that.
I'm beginning to have a problem with this deal.
Okay.
This is supposed to be a safety event, not a celebration or a party. We're inviting people to come and exercise their ability to set off their Oregon legal fireworks. The more of a party, the more we need security. We're already going to get swamped, or could get swamped. Do we need people drinking? Do we need a beer garden?
Nope.
Do we need a band?
I had not heard of beer garden.
Oh, this is all suggestions
Oh, okay.
that I've heard. Oh, are we gonna have a beer garden? Now that's.
I hadn't heard that one yet. Okay.
Isn't this celebration better?
Was that a motion, Council?
Yes, it's gonna happen on the 4th of July and it's a day to celebrate, but we're offering people a safe place to do that, not a party.
Yeah, when I had initially sort of suggested this, I think the way that I had framed it was that I didn't know that we could put together what I was very, very, very roughly envisioning in the moment quickly enough for this 4th of July, where it would be kind of a combination of like, we would have a celebration, but also a space that was kind of designated for people to be encouraged to bring their fireworks, to shoot them off and make a little bit more of that safety sort of focus. And I know that as I think a couple of other counselors have picked up the ball and run with it since that very first conversation, some weeks back. I think it's been a little bit more on that food trucks and music.
I don't have a problem with food trucks.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with piped in DJ music.
Yeah.
When you go to a band, you're turning into a party.
And
People are gonna be drinking, whether it's obvious or not.
Yeah.
They're gonna be doing other things, and there goes the safe fireworks right out the window.
I don't
Who's
think
gonna be
they were
drinking
gonna be
around
having a
kids?
band. That was just something that had been brought up.
I've heard it other places.
Well, there's a lot of
we
other
should have a
places doing
band.
this. There's not gonna be a beer garden. They can say that. for
That would
next
crack me up.
This is supposed to be a place where, communities can come together during the day, have some fun.
Exactly.
Like Rich was saying, everything needs to be off the field before even one firework is lit.
Yeah.
Because that's the end result, is we want people to be there to celebrate the 4th of July, but celebrate safety. I spoke with Deputy Chief.
Well, guys, can I say something really quick?
Yes,
Because we're
go
kind
for it.
of going down the same rabbit holes
Yeah.
that we've been doing. We're making all this planning, and I think Rich is right. We need to form a committee,
Yeah.
and the committee needs to be doing this.
Absolutely.
Not us just fighting over or bickering over what we want or we don't want up on the council. I mean, it's fine if we can get final approval or something, but I think we're trying to all plan things out, and that's not to. I mean, there's been an incredible amount of work that's gone into this already, especially with a couple people, and I'm really grateful for all that. But I do think Rich is right. I think we need to step back. We need to form a committee, and then we need to do this the right way.
Oh, absolutely, but I would like to have not just us here on the committee, but citizens from Toledo come in and talk, because ultimately it's all about them as
That's
well.
what Mr. Hebner said.
No, I mean, on the committee, not just businesses, but.
Absolutely. I may not have specifically said just, citizens, but absolutely, I'm right there with you, sir.
Kind of like we did the charter review.
Yeah, that's a great example. That's a great example. So, I would ask first off, are there counselors that are interested in serving on that committee?
You know I'm in.
Very good.
I'm in.
Awesome.
I'm in if you guys want me.
Well, as I mentioned, I'd like to keep it to 3 or less, and I had 4 people volunteer, so
Okay.
we can rotate them too as well. Yeah.
It's not like I need another thing to do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for being willing, Jackie. I do appreciate it. So it sounds like Councilor Keating, Council President Sylvia, Mayor Mix. I'll reach out to each of you and as well as Amber, and find a time to schedule our first meeting. In the meantime, if any of you have other members of the community that you think would be good on this, please invite them.
I do have a suggestion, because it's the 4th of July. If we want food trucks, somebody needs to reach out to them now.
Yeah.
We've got them.
Frank has already been doing that.
They all need to also come into City Hall and get your Toledo business license, because you cannot sell food in Toledo without one.
Yep. And we'll need to,
Technically can't do business of any kind in Toledo.
Well, I was just going because of the food trucks.
I didn't know.
You have to have it unless you're under the umbrella of a company like down at the Supper, the market down in Memorial Field. They're under the umbrella of,
They don't have to have a
Because I know we
business
were
size.
talking about that.
yes,
Okay.
they're under the umbrella
Vendors
of the
don't.
Toledo Chamber of Commerce.
That's good.
and as soon as we have the outline, the agenda for the day, we'll need to contact CIS and make sure they're aware of what we plan to have there and make sure we got all their support and coverage. So that'll be one of the to-do list.
Perfect.
Got it going on.
And that is parameters too, I'm sure, because that's where
Oh, yeah. Discussion.
we're. Summer
Anybody in
festival
the-
is our party, okay?
Anybody in the public want to have anything to say on this in person? Or anybody online?
I mean, I would be interested in helping out and talking about stuff. I don't know what time commitment I can definitely do, but I would love to be involved.
Please.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You know where to reach you.
I think so.
Okay, moving on to decision items. RCA resolution of Toledo City Council adopting a supplemental budget for the fiscal year 2025, 2026 and making appropriations.
Thank you, Council President. I'll just, before I turn it over to Judy, I'll just mention, because this is a budget item, as you see listed on the agenda, we do need to have a public hearing as part of that. So before we get to discussion, after Judy does the presentation, we'll need to open the public hearing. Council's doing a great job of soliciting public comment on agenda items recently anyway, but we do need to do that formally on this item. With that said, Council President, I'm going to invite Judy Richter to do the presentation on the budget amendment.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Good evening. Hi, folks. Good to be with you again. The supplemental budget that I have before you this evening, excuse me, is because we've come into a couple of pots of money that we weren't anticipating when we did the budget a year ago. We received about $95,000 for an insurance reimbursement. And our SIP money came in higher than we anticipated. And so we're recognizing that income as well. And we also collected more than we anticipated in our electric franchise fees. So these are all additional income that we need to recognize and make appropriations for spending. And as Rich mentioned, it is very important that we have a public hearing that's required by Oregon local budget law to take comment from people either in the council's chambers or online regarding this supplemental budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judy. So Council President, at this time, I would ask you to open the public hearing and ask for any public comment.
Okay, this time I'm opening public hearing at 6:44 PM on April 15th for this appropriation of money.
Is there anyone in the room that would like to provide public comment on this item? Mr. Johnson, anybody online?
Here's one.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Council President, you may close the public hearing.
Public hearing is closed at 6:45.
Great. Open to discussion amongst the council or questions, and Judy is available if there are any questions.
The only question I had is, what is an OJT reimbursement grant?
On the job training. So when we hired Mr. Johnson, we were able to take advantage of a work source program called On the Job Training to help him. Paul brought a great deal of experience. The official title for his position is City Recorder / Executive Assistant. And he brought a great deal of experience in the public sector as well as the private sector on the executive assistant side of the role. But City Recorder is a very niche position. And we were able to take advantage of this program to help him start to get up to speed on that aspect of the role. And as you all know, boy, he has taken that and run with it. So we were able to get reimbursed for a portion of his wages while he was participating in that program.
Anybody else? No? I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 1602 as presented.
Just a quick clarification, this would be resolution 1601.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 1601 as presented.
Thank you, Councilor.
It's been moved by Jackie Kaufman, seconded by Jackie Burns, to adopt resolution number 1601, a resolution of the Toledo City Council adopting a supplemental budget for the fiscal year 2025-2026 and making appropriations. Paul, can we get a vote?
Councilor Riley,
Yes.
Councilor Keating,
Yes.
Councilor Chambers,
Yes.
Councilor Burns,
Yes.
Councilor Kaufman,
Yes.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
Mayor Mix,
Yes.
motion passes.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution of the Toledo City Council adopting findings of fact related to the Toledo Community Market and approving a fee waiver related to the usage of Memorial Field for the same.
Thank you, Council President. As I lead in on this item, I'd like to acknowledge that during your last meeting on April 1st, where this item was discussed, you all probably remember I was remote. I was having some internet problems at the location. I dropped out a couple times, and it was also a little distorted at times. So I prepared the resolution that's in your packet this evening, had it reviewed by the city attorney. And as I was reviewing the minutes that Paul put together from that April 1st meeting, I was reminded that council had expressed some interest in having some additional information before potentially having a resolution to consider. So I wanted to put in there that I may have put the cart before the horse by putting this item in your agenda this evening. So if there's a desire by council to have additional discussion on this item, I would be open to any discussion, or if there's a desire to table it to your next meeting, I'm open to that as well. Just wanted to acknowledge that before potentially going into a presentation on the item.
And it's not all Rich's fault, because he asked me and I told him, yeah, I think we reached a consensus, and misled him. So I want to throw that out there too.
I was not at the April 1st meeting, but this one feels like a fairly easy one to me. I'm very comfortable with not charging those fees. it's funny, I was just thinking in my mind, like, we're gonna have the discussion around arts, oysters, and brews in a little bit, and I was like, I would probably say that's a throw, I guess. I'd probably pay $2,500 for them to put the market on. So it's an easy yes from my perspective.
Yeah, and I'll say, I think my concern, so some of the conversation that we were having with Amber from the chamber a couple weeks ago is more around, I think we wanted to know a bit more about history of enforcement of these fees. So what we found out a couple weeks ago was that the chamber has not been paying these fees for a while, and not necessarily having a problem with that, but wanted to get a better sense of, one, if organizations other than the chamber have been expected to pay the fees. We wanted to get a better sense of kind of the bigger picture of how these fees are being managed and enforced. I think some of this is also, I think it's worth continuing the discussion. I think we wanted to hear a little bit more about, I'll be blunt when I say this. I struggle with the conversation that we had a couple weeks ago, where I think we had an understanding that came also from the new director of the chamber, that the data of the impact of the market is not super reliable. We know that people come to it. We don't know where they come from. We don't have direct connections between whether the events are meaningfully filtering customers to the kind of standing businesses in our community, as opposed to just bringing people to that market and then leaving. That $15 per vendor fee that they charge, I think, is way below what comparable markets typically charge. And so there's a part of me that, when I'm thinking about just kind of the fiscal responsibility, and I know it's not a ton of money, right? I know it's a tiny little bit of money, but why isn't there perhaps a discussion? I'd like to at least explore a discussion about, is there the opportunity for them to increase the fee for the vendors, even by $5 cuts the expense of this waiver in half. I guess my point is, we left that conversation wanting to see, myself anyway, I think I was trying to convey, as somebody who was on the board of this chamber for a year and struggled greatly with constantly trying to find ways to generate better metrics for how well the chamber is actually improving circumstances for its paying members. And I think that I really struggle personally with the term finding of fact as opposed to finding of speculation. Because when we have our own director saying the data is not really reliable, I can't find fact in blatantly unreliable data. So I guess I don't disagree. Like, I have absolutely no problem with this. I think if I were to pass this, the only thing that I would want changed is I would want this to be a waiver for 1 year. And I'd like us to have an open dialogue with the chamber about how we better measure the data over the next year before we say this is just a blanket in perpetuity resolution.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, to be clear, like, if it said, whereas people in my neighborhood kind of like going to the market, like, I would still support it. I'm not trying to run a chamber of commerce here. Like, it's a good thing in our community. Yeah. We have a $150 barrier to entry that we charge for it, right, but it's something that we want to happen and people like. Sure. So, like, I think I respect and understand your interest in, like, the deeper dive, but it's an easy question to me because I'm not as interested in that.
I'll provide, I've got a little bit of information. Would you like me to share it first? Okay. So the Memorial Field rental fee, as it is currently, which is $150 a day, was added by the city by council's adoption of the master fee schedule in 2021. We didn't have a fee for the field before that. So this is new within the last 5 years. In that time, the chamber moved the Thursday market from Main Street to the park area. Jackie, go ahead.
They did not move it. We moved it.
Okay.
We kicked them off Main Street.
It was moved.
Okay, it was moved.
That's why they don't pay a fee, because they would want it back on Main Street. We'd have to close the traffic. and give up all the parking.
Well, and there also wasn't a fee when it was moved. So that's probably part of it as well. So thank you for that clarification. I'll say when we moved it, when it was moved, there wasn't a fee for the use of the field. Since it's been established, they have not paid the fee. They were invoiced once, as far as Cindy Ullman recalls. They didn't pay that invoice, and then they were never invoiced again. We have two other organizations that rent the field for an extended period, which I would correlate to, once a week for 3 to 4 months. I would call that an extended period. Those two organizations are SET, our local youth sports organization, and Summerfest. SET is not charged for the use of the field. Part of that is, the reason for that is we have a specific agreement with them in which they perform field maintenance. So the city receives a benefit from that use. Summerfest does pay the fee for the duration of their 9-day rental. That's obviously, there's a different funding structure for that event than there is the Thursday market. So there's three users that use extended periods.
I feel the exact same way about the Summerfest as I do this, though. A great thing that we like is happening. Like, why are we creating a barrier?
Yeah.
And for a non-meaningful amount of revenue.
And that's part of where I think I was very interested in understanding who we enforce it on and who we don't.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Because it's also about what are some of the similar things that I'd like to be affording that to, and making sure that we're applying this concept fairly. And so you raised, SET, for example, and them having a maintenance expectation if they're not paying.
Right.
We've not discussed a maintenance expectation for a regular frequent use of this space that is going to have traffic, is going to have tents. I know they put vehicles on the on the field as well. So I guess, again, part of that further conversation was like, we have not discussed the terms of what's kind of expected if we're waiving in the way that we have with others. And so that's, I will very happily admit that I raised a red flag with Rich just to wonder, like, I felt like this was one step further than what our consensus actually was at the last meeting. Not that I had a problem with it, but it was just to say, I feel like we were looking for a conversation in between.
And I'll add really quick, since Counselor, you weren't at the meeting 2 weeks ago. I think it also, what I'm about to say kind of goes back to a point you made a moment ago, Counselor Keating. So I'll connect these two. When I brought this up for council 2 weeks ago, you mentioned a moment ago, we don't waive this for anybody else. One of the options that I presented at the meeting was there's a couple ways to go about this. Either council could adopt a new line item in the fee schedule, right? That says any organization that rents the field for X number of days, whatever criteria council wanted to make, we either charge a reduced rate, we waive the fee, and then that applies to any organization that meets the criteria that council sets. Or you could do what's in your packet tonight, which is adopt a resolution with findings of fact. Okay, and I use that just as a legal term, and says, for these reasons, this is why we find this particular activity worthy of this waiver, and then it doesn't automatically apply to other organizations. So if, to your point a moment ago, Counselor, about saying, well, maybe we do it for a year, I did write the resolution to say it's in effect until modified, just so that you don't have to necessarily go through this every year. But you could choose, as Counselor Keating mentioned as a possibility earlier, you could choose either tonight or in the future to adopt this for 1 year while you gather some new data, and also consider, do we want to set that standard where it would apply to any organization that meets certain criteria? So,
yeah, and I think either of those paths probably meets my need. I can see why, like, if the van life people had spillover and wanted to camp on Memorial Field for a week, that's a very different thing than a community festival that's been enriching our town for what, 50, 60, over 100 years?
Yeah,
you're way off there. Yeah. Well, it's only been the summer festival for part of that, it's
I
called
think-
Timber Days,
Yeah,
so
that's
maybe
Pioneer Days.
I.
Pioneer Days, that's what it was.
But so I'm fine with like, we just take things that we know are enriching the community, we find in fact that they're enriching the community and we waive the fee and we keep the fee on the schedule so that if the van life people want to come to town, they're paying their fair share. Or if we want to try to design that through a more complicated program, that they're both seem hard to me, but regardless of what we do with this resolution, I'd love to see another one for Summerfest.
And to your point, Counselor, and I think that's a good one. The reason that this is coming forward specifically for this event is the chamber came to the city and asked, is this a possibility? So I would certainly be open if Summerfest wanted to make the same request.
Well, I don't know how everybody else up here feels, but me personally, I'd rather table it and have more discussion because I'm sitting here doing the math. We have Summerfest that pays $1,350. The Thursday market pays $25.50 and set pays $0. Are we really going to be upset about $3,900 for organizations that the Summerfest brings in a ton of business to all of our local places? I'd rather sit here and talk about it another time and actually get a deep dive into it than make a decision right now.
And I think the thing that I'm most interested in is the set example. And the reason I'm interested in that is because I think that to get a waiver from the city for use of the field, I do think there needs to be an agreement of either maintenance or restoring the field to kind of the status it was before you went in, like leave it how you found it. Or at least making sure that there is some sort of agreement for liability for any damages to the field. Like, I do think that if you're getting this free from us, whether you're there for 9 days for Summerfest, or you're there once a week over the course of, 15 weeks, and I do know the market plans, I think Amber said that she's planning on expanding it for potentially a couple more months. So I think if we're giving this waiver to organizations or to events that we recognize as of having great value to the community, I do think there needs to be some reciprocity to that, or at least some sort of, you have to make sure that when you are driving vehicles, that you are bringing vendors on, et cetera. And then the only other thing that I jump on here is, I think that if we are giving the waiver, does this, whereas, are we in some way locking them into keeping their vendors at $15? Because to some extent, if we're saying you get to use this space, I kind of want our vendors to be getting a really cheap deal here and saying, pay that discount forward to your vendors to make sure that more of them are able to come at a very low threshold, a low cost barrier to be able to come and to sell their goods in Toledo. So I think I agree. I think tabling it would be really good because it's more that I'm interested in what does a waiver agreement look like.
And something that sparked for me as part of your discussion, so thank you for a robust discussion. You've made the correlation, Councillor Keating, to the agreement with SET. With SET, they have members of their board who are very specifically knowledgeable in the upkeep of a grass field, right? So they buy the supplies and they do the actual maintenance. Not every organization, Chamber, Summerfest, is going to have that level of expertise. But one thing that we could do with an organization that rents the field on an extended period, having a similar arrangement to say, rather than maybe you pay the rental fee for every day of your usage, but you pay a flat fee as a maintenance fee if our staff is going to be the one to go and do that field maintenance after the event. So there are several options, and I can come back on your first meeting in May with maybe 2 or 3 options, and you can pick which one you want to.
I just want to make sure that it's like exceptional damage, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If they burn the field?
Hey, Tracy, do you have anything to say on this?
I think it's all been said.
Yeah,
I would just like to say,
that's your name for the record.
Shannon Herman. The one topic of discussion when the fees come around in our committee meetings is what exactly do those fees go to and what do they pay for? And so yeah, that's one thing that they ask all the time.
The fees that are collected for use of city facilities go toward the maintenance and upkeep of those facilities. So I can't tell you specifically, your 150 for that day, went to sod, right? But I can tell you that those fees stay at, if not specifically Memorial Field, in the city's facility, public facilities budget. So I'd be happy to talk to the Public Works Department and, get more information than that. But I can at least tell you that the fees stay within the general area of the budget in which they're billed.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you.
To speculate a little bit on what I think I'm hearing you say,
Yeah.
like it feels weird to put on a town festival as a nonprofit that you volunteer a ton of hours for and then pay a fee to the city to provide that.
That is a part of their hesitation, yes.
That was nicely said.
Thank you.
I'd also like to apologize to Mayor Mix, to whom I promised I would be brief with my comments tonight.
So what does everybody feel like tabling this and having a discussion later?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
I'll bring, just for the record, council, I'm sure you know, but for the meeting record, when you table something, that by definition, it comes back at your next meeting. So since we don't have a meeting on April 22nd due to the LOC conference, this will be on your agenda for May 6th.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is an RCA to approve Art Oysters and Brews event budget.
I have to excuse myself from this conversation for actual conflict of interest. My wife is on staff at the Economic Development Alliance.
Thank you. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I think this one is going to be a much quicker discussion than the last one. So I had an opportunity to meet with the staff from Economic Development Alliance of Lincoln County last week to talk about start the process of planning for the event. I can tell you the EDALC staff is very excited to host this, coordinate this event for the city again this year. So in the RCA that's in your council packet this evening is the budget that is set forward from the EDALC staff. The bands and musicians line item is $3,000, proposed at $3,000. I want to let council know there's a little bit of flexibility on that. Andrew, how do you say his last name again? Paul
Skydema.
Skydema, thank you. Paul Skydema, the executive director of EDALC, when he first sent me the budget, he listed it at 2,000, but he said any more that we're able to provide improves the level of the musicians that they can attract. So at our meeting, I said, what would you, if you could just tell me, how much do you really want? And he said, well, 3,000 would be great. So that's what's in your packet this evening is that amount, but I wanted to let you know there is some flexibility there. But as you see, the line items include bands and musicians, work and supplies for community murals, marketing and advertising, portable restrooms and washing stations, security, and that line item is included in there because consensus at your last meeting was you wanted to do a 2-day event. So security is there for the evening to allow vendors to leave their tents and their supplies up overnight. Water bottles for volunteers and staff. And then, so I list a line item here, liability insurance and incidentals. And the reason I had included that is initially I thought, well, we don't know how much the liability insurance is going to be. But I realized afterwards, since this is a city event, our liability insurance should be covered by CIS. So the actual total that I calculated was $75.25, which is why that line item was $425 to make the budget a nice round number. So what I'm proposing for council to consider tonight, as you see, is a budget of $8,000. I anticipate, depending on what your comfort level with the bands and musicians line item is, I do anticipate that to be closer to $7,500 to $7,550. With that said, I listed the GL number as the general services special purchases line item. That particular line item has a budget of $12,500. So far to date, we've billed $100.07. So we have plenty of budgetary authority within the line item I recommend for the budget for the event. Council President, that concludes my report. I am open to any questions the council may have.
First question I have is, who is in charge of picking security?
That would be EDELC. They have worked with different security firms before, and they would be the ones that would, as the event coordinators, they would be the one that would secure that firm.
Can you stress them not to go with the people that didn't show up last year?
Yes, absolutely. I think they're well prepared for that already, but I will convey that message for sure.
Ask Rod for the vendor. Rod, I think.
Former Mayor Cross?
Yeah.
Very good. You bet.
Former Mayor Cross was the one who found the vendor because I was the one watching the tents for like 5 hours.
Oh, wow. I'll reach out to him. Thank you very much.
Anybody have anything, Shannon?
I think it's great that we're partnering up with them and able to provide this for the community.
And I mean it when I say they're really excited.
Tracy, do you have anything to say?
I'm thankful.
Oh, I'm glad to see it.
Anybody in the audience have anything to say about this? Anybody online? I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the Arts, Oysters, and Brew event budget as presented.
Second.
By Councilor Chambers and seconded by William Riley. Paul, can we get a vote?
He beat me, I was just louder.
Thank you, Council President. Council Burns.
Yes.
Councilor Kaufman.
Yes.
Oh, wait, yes. Councilor Riley.
Yes.
Councilor Chambers.
Yes.
Council President Sylvia.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Mix.
Yes.
6-1 with 1 abstention. 6-0-1.
Next on the agenda is administrative and department reports. Mr. Beekman.
Thank you, Council President. A few of you know this, but your city manager has the starts of a migraine this evening. So I am going to ask council if anyone has any questions for any of the department heads present this evening regarding the reports that are in your packet. Hearing no questions, I just want to thank the department heads that are here this evening. I would like to formally introduce, I believe I did at the budget training, but at her first council meeting this evening is our new finance director, Mindy Suter.
Welcome, Mindy.
We are very, very excited to have her. I don't know if there's anybody more excited than Cindy and Judy, but I'm pretty close. But you all met Mindy at the budget training last week, and we are very, very excited to have her as part of the City of Toledo team. With that said, Council President, if you don't mind, I'll move into City Manager's report, and I just have 2 quick items. So as council will recall, back to last August, the council has approved several items over the last few months related to the Olala Meadows housing project. One of the parts of the contract that council has taken action on is the ability for Northwest Coastal Housing to assign the lease and the SDC waivers and other actions on this item to a similarly situated LLC. That's a pretty standard practice when they develop a new housing project. They create an LLC. Thank you so much. That is specifically for to maintain that one specific housing project, housing unit. And so just wanted to let council know that we have received notice from Northwest Coastal Housing that they have assigned the SDC agreement, the ground lease, and the project lease to an LLC that they have created. And I am opening the document right now just so I can state on the record, I believe it's Olala Meadows LLC. But I just want to, so to between two. Should have had this ready, my apologies. Yes, Olala Meadows LLC. So I will be signing those documents on behalf of the city, and just wanted to let council know you've already authorized those to occur. So no action is needed by council, but just wanted to share on the record at the meeting that we've received that notice. The only other item I have this evening for council, just in case you hear or have heard, we had a candidate for county council who I don't know if it was the candidate themselves, somebody who's a supporter of them, but we had a campaign sign placed on the property of our water tank up at Grand Avenue. And as you know, campaigning political signs on public property is a no-no. So I went up and picked that sign up myself. And I just wanted to let council know, in case you heard or have heard that somebody was picking up campaign signs, that was me. It was one, and it was only because it was on public property. So just wanted to share that this evening. That's all I have for the city manager's report this evening. Council President, other than just as a reminder, the budget committee meetings will start in May, and just want to recognize Judy and Cindy and Mindy for all the work that they've put in on the budget, and I'm looking forward to getting that to all of the budget committee members. I'm hoping to have it before your first meeting. So looking forward to the budget process with all of you starting next month. And as I mentioned, I always do this. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, just as a reminder for council and the public, there will be no meeting next Wednesday, April 22nd, as myself and a few council members will be traveling to Pendleton for the League of Oregon Cities Spring Conference. That's all I have, Council President. Thank you, sir.
The next is city council issue tracker and future agenda items.
Council, kind of like I did with the reports, I would just like to ask if council has any items that they would like to have brought forward to a future meeting, other than the ones we talked about tonight.
I've already added those to the agenda tracker.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Council comments, Ms. Burns?
I just have a couple things. I'm just wondering, the fence around the ball field and where people hang their business flyers, do they pay us anything for that?
Set, right?
They're supposed to. SET does have in their agreement that they have the opportunity to put up banners for their sponsors. So it depends on who places it. But if it's not SET, they are supposed to come in and pay a fee and get an approval for that.
Okay, I just noticed when I was walking by, there's a whole bunch. I mean, it's pretty well.
They go up right before the set season. So
Yeah, I'll reach out to SET and make sure that all the ones that are on there are affiliated with them. And if they're not, we'll try to get a hold of the organization that if it's identified on there. Thank you for that.
Just one last thing that I have is that to publicly apologize for unkind things that I said about Councillor Keating, and that it flies in the face of who I want to be and how, as a city councillor, I'd like to conduct myself and as a team member. So I just want to apologize to council as well as this guy. That's all I have to say about that.
Andrew?
I'll go next and say that I accept as I said privately, and I'll say publicly, an unnecessary apology. I adore Jackie and I'm very grateful for her and for her character. The one thing I do want to draw some attention to, as some of you may have seen, maybe you haven't, there will be at the Toledo Elks on April 29th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., a forum for all candidates across all three races for county commissioner. That is being hosted by Lincoln County News Source, that's the technical organization that does Oregon Coast Breaking News. Kira Morgan, who we've seen plenty of times here in our city hall and covers a lot of our meetings. So there will be a debate, a forum. All 12 candidates across the 3 races have been invited. That's again here, Toledo Elks.
April when?
April 29th.
What time?
5 p.m. to 8. 5 to 5:45 is going to be like a social period of time, and then the actual forum will follow that. All candidates who were invited who want to participate were required to complete an agreement for code of conduct, which will be wonderful. We like to see that. But just wanted to make sure folks knew about that, because I think there are 3 very interesting races that are happening, and quite a few candidates that I think speak to a lot of the issues that we're facing here in Toledo. And so I hope people will come out. And I think that's all I
Time
have.
again, I'm sorry.
5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Have the candidates agreed to agenda items for the forum?
They are not being informed of what topics or what questions they're going to get in advance.
That's the way.
So that as far
That's the way it should be.
as I understand,
I like that.
the Lincoln County News Source is that their board is designing the questions and will be asking them for the first time that night.
That way you can't have a speechwriter answer it for you.
As a speechwriter, I resent that.
Bill? Jackie?
No, I
Um,
said enough.
Yeah, Andrew said enough. The only thing I really have to say is that we're getting into this election season, and regardless of who it is you support from any race, just be civilized.
Yeah.
Just be humans. You don't need to ignore somebody because they like this person or you like this person. That is just flat out ridiculous. Just be human beings. And that's all I've got.
Council President, after the mayor, would you, can I have just one more moment before we adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Tracy?
Yeah, I just want to say how proud I am of our council. We've come a long ways in a very short period of time. And to see us joking about things that we used to blow up over and working together and being respectful of each other's opinions and of each other is a place that I hope we continue to grow in. It's good for our community, it's good for us. And I just want to thank each of you for your part in that. That's all I have to say.
I just like that Frank and I have gotten to a point where when we fight in the parking lot, it's just for sport.
You too.
Let's do it anymore.
No, it's just not boring anymore.
Turn it into a fundraiser.
The Fight Club.
We do a fundraiser for the H2O.
Rich?
Thank you, Council President. I knew there was something I was forgetting, and I'm surprised that the fire chief wasn't kicking me under the table. Just as a reminder for council and the public, the Toledo Fire Department and Police Department are hosting an open house and emergency preparedness fair this Saturday, the 18th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., rain or shine. I have been assured by the fire department that they are prepared to host it indoors if there's rain. But the 2 agencies will be there together. The tagline is explore emergency vehicles, meet your local firefighters and police officers, learn about safety and preparedness, all while having a blast. So this Saturday, 10 to 2 at the fire station.
Are there hot dogs?
That's a good question. Steve, are there hot dogs?
Yes.
There's always been hot dogs.
And there's a lot of events for little kids.
Are you gonna burn stuff?
Hot dogs.
You would have to talk to our law enforcement brethren about the hot dog cooking.
That's true.
My understanding has been turned over to them.
Very
When are we gonna have another?
Yeah, they
when are we
usually
gonna have
do
another
the-
pancake fundraiser?
The food.
To the question of are they going to burn stuff, I don't know for sure, but 2 of the things that they list on here are hands-on activities and demonstrations and a kids firefighter challenge. So I think there's at least a chance.
Aside from burning hot dogs, no, we are not probably really burning it. I should have clarified that to your.
Oh, that's not fun.
Well,
It's better than nothing.
Should we get
Safer.
Yes, please. That truly is all I have now,
Okay.
City Council President. Thank you, sir.
We will end the meeting at 7:24 PM.